To the game. I'm Jeannie Velasco. The reason for the delay, tonight President George W. Bush will address the nation in his first primetime news conference since the September 11th attacks. Let's go now to Fox News Channel's Rick Hume. Network Center, the president addresses the nation with the States of the War address. Coming up, it is coverage of Game 2 of the AL Divisional Series between the Yankees and the A's with Joe Buck and Tim McCarver. This after a message from your local station.
We welcome you to Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York, United States of America. It is in some ways very awkward, Tim, to come off that press conference and try to present baseball strategy. We usually come on the air talking about the pitching matchup. You see the statistics this season for Andy Pettitte. But we were just given a reminder of what is important and real in the world around us right now, and we present baseball from New York as entertainment. We hope you enjoy it, and we thank you for joining us here tonight. It's the A's and the Yankees in Game 2 of this divisional series. The A's winning last night 5-3. And like the Yankees asked of Andy Pettitte in last year's divisional series with Oakland, they asked him for a win in game number 2. Oakland up 1-0, and the first pitch is a strike over the inside corner to Johnny Damon.
For Andy Pettitte, particularly with right-handed batters, the left side of the infield must be ready. Pettitte mixing his pitches better, and he will shut down the running game. And Johnny Damon, for that matter, if Damon gets on, he had 2 stolen bases last night, a terrific night, 4 for 4. He was on base 5 times.
It is Damon, then Pettitte, then Jason Giambi here in the first inning for the A's. Damon out in front of that pitch, and now he's behind in the count 1-2.
Curveball. Andy Pettitte does not feature that pitch often. Usually it's the hard slider or cutter.
2-2. What Damon did last night, 4 hits in his playoff debut. 2-2 from Pettitte. Off the hands and back toward us. The Yankees trying to repeat as world champions for the 4th consecutive year. A look at Roger Clemens. His right hamstring a cause for concern last night and the day after. Joe Torre telling us if this goes to a Game 5, he will pitch. Here's a 2-2. It stays 2 balls, 2 strikes. But while they are 3-time defending world champions, and they have won 4 of the last 5 years, Joe Torre, operating in the final year of his contract, is down in his home ballpark, 1-0, facing an 18-game winner, Tim Hudson, on the mound tonight for Oakland. They are asking for a lot out of Andy Pettitte. 2-2. Full count. th postseason start for Andy Pettitte, who brings with him an 8-4 record in those starts.
Remarkably, in his starts in postseason, the Yankees are 15-4.
Damon with a very good at-bat here against Andy Pettitte.
And you talked about last year, Joe, after Roger Clemens lost to Oakland in Game 1 of the divisional series last year in Oakland. Pettitte won game number 2. However, then the Yankees came back to Yankee Stadium. After tonight's game, both teams charter out to the Bay Area.
Another 3-2 to Damon, and a shattered bat. Martinez finds the ball, finds the bag, 1 out.
Ball, not bat. Andy Pettitte, Game 5 of the 1996 World Series, the game the Yankees won 1-0 in the last game ever played in County Stadium down in Atlanta, pitching 8 1/3 shutout inning. Yankees winning that game 1-0.
However, he was not good in Game 5. His teammates presented him with a 6-0 lead in the first inning. And Andy Pettitte could not get through 4 innings and allowed 5 runs on 10 hits. An eventual 7-5 Yankee win. They then went on to beat Seattle in the ALCS and the Mets in the World Series. Pettitte. 2 balls, no strike. Pettitte to be followed for Art Howe by Jason Giambi. Here's a 2-0. Moving pitch for a strike. It's 2-1. Giambi clubbed a mammoth home run here in last night's game. One out, bases empty. That's a strike. 2-2.
Jason putting another dent in perhaps the most famous facade in a stadium that is the most famous in sports.
Here's a 2-2. Pettitte hits it fair past third. It takes a hop, goes into the seats, and that's a ground rule double. So here are the A's. Damon grounds out. Pettitte hit it hard past third up into the seats. And the A's have a runner in scoring position here in the first inning.
Pettitte lightning quick on that cutter. Pettitte tried to get it inside over the inside part of the plate in a low line drive down the left field line. And as Joe said, into the stands.
So now you've got Giambi. And whereas in years past, especially in last year's divisional series between these two teams, you would certainly be more willing to pitch around Giambi, not necessarily walk him, but you didn't have to give in to him. It's a different story with Jermaine Dye waiting on deck. Why is this guy dangerous? Against Sterling Hitchcock, the swing, the dent. Giambi drove home 120 runs during the regular season, last year's most valuable player in the American League. Waits on it, pops it up. Soriano. 2 out.
Jason Giambi perhaps will be the most valuable player in the American League this year. And to put Barry Bonds' year in perspective, talking about this before the game, Barry Bonds had 35 more home runs than Jason Giambi. 35.
For a total of 73, yet he is at home watching the postseason, while Giambi and the A's not only are in the postseason for the second consecutive year, but without a doubt pose the biggest threat to the reigning champion Yankees, as they're up 1-0 a runner at second, 2 out in the first inning, and Jermaine Dye takes the ball. Dye, 26 home runs, 106 RBIs during the regular season, 1 out of 4 in last night's game, when we mentioned that Dye was here in 1996 as a member of the National League champion Atlanta Braves. Too far inside again. It's 2-0. We look at the numbers for Jermaine Dye. 61 games. He had 59 runs batted in for Oakland. The other cleanup hitters for the A's, a 209 average with 58 RBIs and 10 home runs. 2 balls, no strikes, and Pettitte steps off.
Looks like the plan for the Yankees is to jam Jermaine Dye, but when you fall behind 2 balls and no strikes, he's no longer jammable. When a pitcher's behind in the count, generally speaking, it's better to stay away.
Awfully careful to Dye in the count. 3-0 with the left-handed hitting third baseman Eric Chavez waiting on deck, and he may get an opportunity here in the first inning. Jermaine Dye fits the mold of this Oakland team, only 27 years old. Here's a 3-0. And that'll put 2 on with 2 out. And there's no doubt that Pettitte, at least once he fell behind, was willing to put Jermaine Dye on and work to Chavez.
You could see Joe Torre shaking his head favorably, saying that if he were catching, and believe me, he was a terrific catcher for the Milwaukee/Atlanta Braves. Holds the Braves record for home runs by a catcher. If he were catching, he would have done the same thing.
His catcher is Posada, who flashes the signs, and Pettitte works to Chavez. Ball one.
Chavez much improved this year against left-handed pitching. 2 years ago, his rookie season, he had 184 against lefties. Last year, 197. He improved by about 50 points. And the way he improved was hitting left-handers the other way. He may have a chance to do that here with Pettitte keeping the ball away.
Now it's 2-0. In case you're wondering, this left-handed heavy lineup for the A's this season, 34 and 22 against left-handed starters. Damon a lefty, Giambi a left-hander, Chavez, Terrence Long. Their other DH is Ron Gant in there tonight. There's Jeremy Giambi, he's left-handed. Here comes a 2-0 with 2 on and 2 out. Challenged him in the count 2-1.
Chavez with a pitch to hit right here, under it.
Chavez with 32 home runs during the regular season. That is an A's franchise record for home runs by a third baseman. Good swing, but it's 2-2. And this crowd at Yankee Stadium, which watched the press conference prior to the start of this game on the scoreboard, to their feet, hoping that the top of this first inning ends scoreless. Runners will go with the 3-2 pitch coming to Chavez.
Pettitte tried to do the same thing with Chavez that he did to Johnny Damon. Jam him.
Runners on at first and second, 2 out. They take off. Chavez chased it, and the first half inning is over. It's game 2 of this division series. Oakland strands 2. Now the Yankees come to bat. 165. His teammates will tell you he's not that big, but on the mound he is tough. And here is Tim Hudson talking about a start like tonight's at Yankee Stadium.
Out there on the baseball field, you know, that's one of the most comfortable spots for me. And, you know, I've always been the guy that, you know, I want to be out there if the game's on the line. I've never shied away from any kind of situation. And, you know, it's, you know, in the playoffs, you know, that's where I want to be. You know, with a packed house, Yankee Stadium, you know, what better place could you be if you love being out there in the fire? You know, it's as hot as it gets.
A recent article in the San Jose Mercury referred to him as Clark Kent off the field. You get the idea.
Chuck Knobloch takes a strike. In fact, Tim at times will watch highlights of himself, be shocked at his look on the mound, how intense he looks, the different looks he'll give hitters. His teammates will tell you off the field he is a mild young man from Columbus, Georgia, who after playing at Phoenix City's Chattahoochee Valley Community College ended up at Auburn and was a tremendous athlete there. Knobloch like a swinging bunt, and Hudson takes care of it, 1 out. Hudson, when he was a senior at Auburn, went 15-2 with an ERA of 2.97 and 165 strikeouts. But with the bat in his hands, hit .396 with 18 home runs and 95 RBIs. Derek Jeter walks to the plate, his next opponent here in the first inning with 1 out.
Tim Hudson dismayed, perhaps, by playing in a league that has a designated hitter.
Overall, in his career against the Yankees, he has never defeated them. The Indians, the other team, the two that he has never beaten in the AL. That's hard hit and past Giambi into right. Jeter is on with 1 out.
One of the advantages of a guy like Derek Jeter is because of his ability to bunt the other way. Occasionally he'll push one between the pitcher and the first baseman or drag one down the third baseline. That draws in the corners. Giambi, as you see, is shallow. And because he was shallow, he didn't have a clean shot to catch that scorcher hit to right.
Here's Paul O'Neill. Moved up in the order against the right-hander. Last night hit in the number 6 spot. DH was 0 for 4. The combination of Williams, O'Neill, Justice, and Brocious 0 for 16 in last night's game, which is more of the same the way the Yankees finished the season, on a low note offensively. A strike to O'Neill. O'Neill, in quite possibly his final year, 21 home runs, 70 RBIs, 22 stolen bases. The oldest player in the history of baseball to hit 20 or more home runs and steal 20 or more bases at the age of 38. Check on Jeter, who stole 27 bases during the regular season and is one of, if not the best base runner in the big league.
Talking to Paul O'Neill earlier today in the bowels of Yankee Stadium, and Paul talking about last night's starter Mark Mulder, said that Mulder's tough. Fastball here, fastball there. I don't like that.
Well, let's see what he gets against Hudson. And then Zito in game 3. 0-2 the count. A lot of offers on this list. A lot of big money players for the Yankees. 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. 9 runners left on base, 5 strikeouts, and the strikeouts, those pile up. Runners aren't even advancing. Bernie Williams a part of that. He waits on deck. Jeter is at first with 1 out, no score, bottom of the first in game 2. Get out of the way, says Tim Hudson. 1-2.
That keeps left-handed hitters from reaching out across the plate and hitting Hudson's vintage sinker away. For the most part, Hudson will stay right around the knees with the fastball, a good slider, good split finger fastball, and a good changeup. Dynamite stuff.
A 1-2. Saved by Hernandez. 2-2.
That was that slide step by Tim Hudson. He has featured that because 24 of 31 base runners have stolen against him this year. Fine play by Ramon Hernandez, the catcher. There's that slide step when Hudson does not pick the leg up. A sinker ball pitcher is more apt to do that and be successful doing that because it doesn't detract from his stuff.
Base stealers successful at over 80% in the 3-year career of Tim Hudson. Guy who's piled up 38 wins the last 2 seasons. Tejada. Bad throw to Menachino, and the A's get only 1. Tejada shaking his head. That was a double play ball, especially with the way O'Neill is running. But the throw by Tejada was wild.
It's to the outfield side. Menachino, was he on the bag? Jeter didn't think so. I'm not too sure he touched the bag. Jeter didn't think so. One more look.
Well, if you trust the microphone, it sounded like his foot
There.
Swiped across the bag. Not only there, but he tries it. Well, sounded like his foot went across the bag.
Didn't
but
it? Yep.
Jeter certainly did not agree. The second base umpire is Rick Reed, who was right in the line of controversy in last night's game while working third base. At one point calling a ball foul that was fair, and in another instance calling Alfonso Soriano out on a swipe of third base when the replay showed he was safe. We'll take another listen to it in just a moment and see if I'm out of my mind. Runner at first with 2 out, in the 0-1 to Bernie Williams. In at the knees, 0-2. Another listen.
Yep. No. God. It did sound like that, Joe. I think you're right. Sounded like his left foot scraped across the bag.
So the count 0-2 on Bernie Williams. I'm okay then?
Yep. Okay.
Runner at first, 2 out, and that just missed the inside corner, ball 1.
Notice Hudson has stayed down and away. Jeter with his 4th hit, by the way. Hudson has stayed down and away until 2 strikes are on left-handed batters. Yankee Stadium, 314 down the right field line. A short porch here at the stadium.
For a guy who has hit 6 Division Series home runs. However, 2 hits in his last 22 postseason at bats. Two and 2. Tino Martinez, who homered in last night's game, waits to hit next. Easily the bright spot for the Yankees down the stretch, swinging the bat. But he will only bat here in this first inning with a chance to do something if Bernie Williams keeps this inning alive.
You can see how Tim Hudson comes set at the waist. Earlier in the year, he was coming set around the chest. What that did was, pitchers refer to that as lengthening their arm. You could see right there at the, for a sinker ball pitcher, it is often better to come set around the waist. Easier to control the pitches.
Oh, that ball comes back fair, and the inning is over. Williams did not run. That ball had crazy spin on it, started out well foul and jumped back fair. And as the first inning comes to a close, Bernie Williams is about 3 feet outside the batter's box. Let's go to the second, no score. Nothing, second inning, and Ron Gant goes after the first pitch and fouls it back, strike 1. Gant the DH tonight. Terrence Long is in left. He's batting 7th. Ramon Hernandez is the catcher. We came on the air just prior to first pitch, so I'll run down the lineup for each side here in the second inning for you. Here's an 0-1 pitch to Gant. Ball and a strike. It's Damon, Tejada, Giambi with Dye, Chavez, and Gant in the middle. Gant hitting 6th. And Terrence Long, Ramon Hernandez the catcher, and Frank Menachino the second baseman batting 9th. Different look to the Yankee lineup tonight. Same cast of characters, but the furniture has been rearranged. 2 balls and a strike. Gant, who has been in the postseason, of course, with the Braves in 91, 92, 93, with Cincinnati, 95, 1996 with St. Louis. Started the season out in Colorado. Happy to be back in the postseason, and Art Howe is thrilled to have Ron Gant as a veteran presence in his clubhouse. And that's up the middle for a base hit. Leadoff man is on for Oakland. We go back to that final play of the first inning, and Bernie Williams with that cue shot that came back fair.
Bernie embarrassed, a player that was embarrassed, and you could see that ball just shooting back past Jason Giambi. never take anything for granted. Now watch the umpire. The umpire, home plate umpire Jeff Nelson, is actually running out in fair territory. So I guess Bernie's thinking, well, if the umpire can run, I should have run.
Lee Mazzilli, the first base coach.
I mean, it just shot back there. High.
Here's the first two. Long, who hit 2 home runs last night. One that just got over the wall in right, and one deeper into right center field. Guy who hit 18 home runs last year, 12 during the regular season, and 2 big ones last night. Giambi also went deep. 1 ball, no strikes. And there's the first look over at a runner at first.
Joe, in fairness to Bernie Williams, 99% of major league hitters would have been fooled by that ball. That ball was headed so far into foul territory that Bernie, along with most any other hitter, would have thought that that ball was foul.
Ava Mataya and Willie Mosconi, however, would have run down the first base line.
In Minnesota, that,
yes. And now I have run out of all of my billiard player references. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pretty impressive list that Terrence Long joined when he went deep twice in a postseason game for the A's. That's too far inside. Here they are. Just a line drive that just got over the wall, and then one clubbed out into right center field. That put Long on a list with Dave Henderson, Ricky Henderson, Sal Bando, Gene Tennis, and Reggie Jackson, who hit a few postseason home runs wearing a Yankee uniform in this ballpark. 2 balls, 2 strikes after this breaking ball.
Another curveball from Andy Pettitte. Again, that is a pitch that Andy has not featured in the latter part of the season.
Gant does not have a big lead.
49 pickoffs since 1996, the most in the majors. Almost all good moves to first base are balk moves. Andy Pettitte very, very close to balking, but he has perfected that move to first.
Long is jammed to pop up, and that's easy for Brochus. 1 out. We got started with this game 2 just before 8 p.m. Eastern time, rather 9 p.m. Eastern time. That's us. Joe Buck, Tim McCarver, Michael Weissman, Bill Webb. A cast of 10s helping to bring you this game 2 of the division series here at Yankee Stadium. And this is game 2 with Oakland having won game 1 5-3. Oakland had 2 on in the first inning, but Pettitte got around it. The Yankees got a 1-out base hit by Jeter in their half of the first, and Tim Hudson got around that. And now, after a leadoff hit by Gant, Long fouled out. The batter is Ramon Hernandez, the catcher.
Joe, it's almost comical when you look at runners on at first base. Gant's still a good base runner against Andy Pettitte. They get no more than a step and a half off first. So if Pettitte does get a ground ball, the runner can't take out the middle infielders.
Good pitch down and in. 1 ball, 1 strike.
So not only does Andy Pettitte pick off a lot of runners at first base, he keeps them so close to first they can't get a good jump and get down to second base. You can see right here going back to first as Pettitte delivers home.
Right there.
You can hear Gant talking to Mike Quaid, his first base coach, as we get yet another example of that good pickoff move to first. Quaid is giving Gant all the help he can give him. Tim McCarver, you came out here to Yankee Stadium about 8:30 this morning to try to demonstrate for the fans what that move is like. Gant was going back to the bag as Hernandez pops it up into right center. Bernie Williams to his left. 2 out. Like Connie Mack standing in front of an audience of baseball players, I present to you Tim McCarver in a golf shirt showing us how the pickoff move works.
The main thing the runner at first base has to look for out of Andy Pettitte is whether the right foot goes behind the left leg. Anything up to this point, you can go to first. But once that right foot goes past the left leg, he's committed to go home. The problem, however, is Andy Pettitte's perfected it to the point where he's right on the line, and he gets a lot of runners that way.
I was just happy to keep my balance going up on my right leg.
Did you feel a bit awkward doing that left-handed?
There it is right there. Yeah, it was weird. But that is Andy's move. You can see that right foot went behind the left leg, and he still went to first base. He does it so repetitively that umpires become used to it. Consequently, they figure if he does it all the time, it's not a balk.
1 ball, 1 strike. You see the leg kick of Andy Pettitte, and now the leg kick of Tim McCarver. Those knees have been through a lot, though, folks.
Yeah, that's not a rocket move you just saw, I'll tell you that.
1 ball, 1 strike. The opposite way, Tino Martinez. Bottom of the second, no score in game 2.
I'm the police!
Yankee Stadium, bottom of the second. It'll be Tino Martinez, Jorge Posada, and David Justice, the 5, 6, and 7 hitters for the Yankees. No score. And Tim Hudson back to work. The 1 hit in game 1 was the 2-out, 2-run home run in last night's 8th inning. Martinez trying to hold up. That's strike 1.
A lot of times when a hitter will do this on the first pitch, he's looking fastball and gets slider.
Now it's 0-2.
Wicked splitter from Hudson. Like Mark Mulder of last night, he varies the speeds of his pitches so much. So a check swing on the first pitch. Martinez way out in front on the splitter.
Hit on the hands and back toward us. So he has shown him 3 pitches here, the first 3 offerings. From a slider to a splitter to a fastball inside, and the count 0-2. Jorge Posada creeping ever closer out of the on-deck circle toward home plate. One and 2.
That's a third left-handed batter that Hudson is crowded with 2 strikes.
Two and 2. Tino Martinez, who could be winding down his time in Yankee pinstripes, came in with big expectations, taking over for Don Mattingly. First year was 96, and that was an awfully good and significant year for the Yankees. That's 1 out as Martinez strikes out. First strikeout for Hudson. And we take you back to the top of this 2nd inning when first base coach Mike Quaid was talking to the veteran Ron Gant about Andy Pettitte's pickoff move.
Yeah, the two he showed you, he's got one tad better than that. But that's about it. He goes hard. Yeah, but you're back easy enough that.
He does go hard. It is so close to a balk, but again, that consistency allows him to do it.
So 1 out, and here's Posada. Posada, who really struggled down the stretch. That's strike 1. Jorge last night had 3 hits and 4 at-bats. The time he was retired, he hit a line drive to left. After finishing up the season hitting .204 from August 4th to the end of the regular season. Hudson coming up and in the count 1-1.
That's the fourth left-hander. Up and in. Don't dive out there. It's a good piece of pitching by Tim Hudson.
Roger Clemens got all the ink leading into game 1 talking about hitters covering both sides of the plate. Clemens was not healthy last night, never really got into the flow of the game. Pitched up and in maybe a couple of times, but it's Hudson, a smaller right-hander on the mound that is Clemens-esque here in game 2. Here's a 1-2. Right over the inside corner for the second out, back-to-back strikeouts.
Tailing fastball gets Posada. It is imperative that pitchers pitch inside. What happens is, if they don't do that, what a hitter does in effect is he leans out over the plate and makes the outside corner, which is usually an area that you're going to get hitters out on, makes it the middle of the plate. But by coming up and in, then you reestablish the outside part of the plate.
So another left-hander for Hudson to face, and it's David Justice who takes a strike over the outside corner. Justice, another Yankee hitter whose numbers were alarmingly low the last month of the season. A lot of swinging and missing by Justice, who provided a big 3-run homer in last year's ALCS against Seattle and Arthur Rhodes.
He was the most valuable Yankee when obtained from Cleveland in late June of last year. And all the Yankees will tell you, without Justice, they would not have made it.
It stays 0-2. However, Justice has been bothered by a groin strain that has put him on the shelf twice this season. Playing in his 95th postseason game. 54 RBI. The all-time major league leader, but again, start looking through history and you have 2 more rounds than you used to have, or 1 more round than you used to have with the division series, and then divisional play, which led to LCS play, which started back in 1969. Here's an 0-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 94 miles per hour from Tim Hudson. Trying to strike out the side here in the second.
And we are seeing the same pattern of Justice swings tonight that we saw last night against Mark Mulder.
Off the end of the bat, Tejada with a backhand throw across his body. Good play, and the inning is over. Hudson has a perfect second inning. We are proud to be at Yankee Stadium, proud to be in New York. Glad you're with us. No score after 2. Andy Pettitte heads back to the hill. 3rd inning, no score. Johnny Damon at the plate. Mike Quade, the first base coach, not Mike Quaid as we were calling him last inning. Mike, I apologize, and I'll let Mike and the world know that on my way out of the booth a moment ago, somebody asked me if I was with the mayor's office. So that's how good I'm going. 1 ball, no strikes.
Did they really?
Yeah, oh yeah. 2-0. Damon, Tejada, and Giambi. Johnny grounded out to first after a good at bat with Andy Pettitte. Tim, here's Andy Pettitte, who had to leave 2 starts ago as he was hit above the pitching elbow on a line drive by Ben Grieve in the 1st inning. That was on September 26th against Tampa Bay. He worked to get back on the mound and then pitched well in his final start. 5 shutout innings against the Devil Rays. But the pitch count is a concern for Joe Torre. And he told us before the game that 100 pitches is about the limit for Pettitte tonight. So consider that he's thrown almost 50 pitches by this point. He was over 40 after the first 2 innings. He's in the mid-40s now. It could be another long night for the Yankee bullpen here in game 2. Here's a 3-ball, 2-strike pitch to Damon, and it'll stay that way.
Torrey telling us that if he goes to a pitcher from the bullpen in the middle innings, it will be Ramiro Mendoza. And if you're looking forward to the 8th and 9th innings tonight, Mariano Rivera, if the Yankees have a lead in the 8th inning, Rivera will be the pitcher. So in effect, Torrey is looking to play a 7-inning game and hoping to have the lead after 7.
7 innings was really the key number at the start of this tremendous stretch by the Yankees when they had both Mariano Rivera and John Wetland.
Right.
Wetland, who was the '96 World Series most valuable player. That was a 1-2 punch in the 8th and 9th innings that was unbeatable. Damon working against Pettitte. And again, after a long at bat, he grounds to first. 1 out.
Often after an at bat like that, a hitter will come back to the bench, and the players, his teammates, will say, way to battle him. But the pitcher battled him just as hard. As a matter of fact, Pettitte 1 out then. So a feisty at bat by Damon. But Pettitte again on a 3-2 pitch, retiring Johnny Damon.
So now it's Miguel Tejada. Tejada doubled back in the first inning, was stranded. Giambi followed the double with a pop-up, a walk to Jermaine Dye, and Chavez struck out. Good pitch down and in. Got the cutter.
That was the cutter right there. Giambi on deck. Joe, since our humanity awareness has been raised to a stratospheric level over the last month, Miguel Tejada is an interesting, warm story from the Dominican Republic.
1 ball, 1 strike.
The Athletics signed him. As a matter of fact, Juan Marichal, the great right-hander, the Dominican dandy, signed him when he was 17 years old. But the A's were interested in Miguel when he was 14.
Strike 2.
But obviously the Athletics could not sign him then. As a matter of fact, they thought he could play, but he was so malnourished, so poverty-ridden. The youngest of 8 children. His family lived in one room. 10 people in 1 room. He slept on a mattress with a hole in the middle with 4 other siblings. And the A's fed him for 2 years until he became strong enough to show his skills, put him in their school, the Juan Marichal school down there, and then signed him when he was 17, and now he's one of the great shortstops in the game.
Not a big body, but he is strong. 31 home runs during the regular season. He has a long-term contract, and he slices one into right field. Short hops the wall. Tejada will test justice and make it with his second double of the night.
The impressive thing about that piece of hitting was Tejada doubled down the left field line his first time up. And now it's down the right field line. Hitting instructors love that hitting because you don't become over enamored with pulling the ball. Justice's throw off the mark, and Tejada with his second straight double.
So Miggy, as they call him, is at second with 1 out. Now Jason Giambi stands in. Another RBI opportunity for Giambi, as the A's trying to get on the board first. Pettitte wanted that pitch, didn't get it, ball 1. Last night not only hit that home run, but also had a sac fly for an RBI. Giambi, we mentioned it last night, has a terrific eye at the plate and rarely offers it pitches out of the strike zone, which is remarkable for a guy with his power. 2-0.
371 walks the last 3 years, the most in the major leagues.
7 of the 13 hits so far for Oakland in this series, extra base hits. including the 3 home runs. 4 doubles total, 2 by Pettitte, who's at second with 1 out here in the 3rd inning of a scoreless game. It's 3-0 with Jermaine Dye on deck. Back in the 1st inning in a similar situation, Pettitte went after Giambi. Giambi popped it up, and Pettitte worked around Jermaine Dye, walked him, and then got Chavez to end the inning. Swinging on 3-0.
I think so.
He at least looks like it.
Nope.
3-1.
Usually if a pitch is inside on 3-0 and you think the hitter is going to be swinging, that's the pitch that he selects to swing at. But he took that inside strike.
Here's a 3-1. That'll put 2 on with 1 out. Second walk handed out by Pettitte. And now some anxious moments for the Yankees and their fans here as Jermaine Dye, who got over the century mark in RBIs this season, bats with 2 on, 1 out.
It was a characteristic with Pettitte on at second and Giambi on at first. The characteristic of the Yankee lineup over the last 5 years to be very selective. Now it's the Oakland Athletics who led the American League in walks last year and this year.
That's strike 1 on Dye. So again, if 100 pitches is the soft limit for Andy Pettitte tonight, realize that he's about to bring home his 61st pitch.
Wow.
3rd inning, only 1 out. 1-1. Joe Torre sitting behind his desk as we had a chance to meet with him before the game. Just extremely calm when we talked to him about it. He said, I'm at peace. I'm calm tonight. He wasn't as calm last night. He said he was jumpy last night. Watching as Dye pops it into shallow right. Long run. Justice. Can he get there? Yeah! What a catch by David Justice. 2 out.
The interesting thing, had Justice dropped that ball, Jermaine Dye had already passed Jason Giambi at first base between 1st and 2nd. Great play by Justice. The basket catch, sliding. Looking to see where he is. A fair ball. Giambi in retreating to first base. Had Justice dropped that ball, it would have been an interesting call. Here's Dye running hard. Giambi's halfway, and now Giambi retreats. Had he dropped the ball, you could see there that Dye would have been out, passing Giambi at first. Here it is right here. Pettitte caught in between. Now stopping and getting back quickly. Fine play by David Justice.
So now 2 on with 2 out, and again it's Chavez at the plate. He had this opportunity in front of him back in the 1st, and he chases that pitch, strike 1. The A's are 0 for 14 with runners in scoring position in this series. 0 for 11 last night, 0 for 3 tonight. A foul ball and an 0-2 count. Clemens threw 82 pitches in 4+ innings, had to leave after a leadoff walk in the 5th last night. Pettitte 64 pitches and 2 2/3. Opponents this season hit .322 against Andy Pettitte when he got over the 60 pitch mark. Ball one. 6'5", 225 pounds. The Texan, Andy Pettitte. Trying to get out of another jam. 2 on, 2 out. Good work by Chavez to spoil that pitch. Another missed opportunity for the young Oakland A's team as Chavez has left 4 runners on. Pettitte with 2 strikeouts. Both times Chavez the victim. No score. Bottom of the 3rd. The 3rd inning, no score. The A's have 3 hits. They've stranded 5 runners already. And Brocious leads it off for the Yankees. Number 8 hitter takes a strike. President Bush tonight ended his press conference, a touching moment, calling on children of this country to support a fund to help raise money for Afghan children. Gave the address of the White House, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C., 20050. And we will have that as part of our scoreboard, which will appear on your screen from time to time during tonight's game 2. 0-2 the count, and Brocious takes ball 1. Brocious, then Soriano, then Chuck Knobloch. Soriano with a nice postseason debut for the Yankees last night with 2 hits, stolen base, run scored. Still 1-2. Like what you see so far out of Tim Hudson?
Oh, man. He has not thrown a ball down the middle of the plate, maybe a couple, but hitters are so surprised when they get one there. Not only hard, heavy, nasty, one of the better compliments paid to a pitcher, but on the corners too.
2-2. Again, not a big guy, listed generously at 6'1", 165. At last pitch, 95 miles per hour off the inside part of the plate. To the left side, Chavez. 1 away. 1 out here in the bottom of the 3rd. No score right now. Jeannie Zalesko with a game break.
Joe, 14 pitches, 2 home runs later, and the Mariners had a 4-0 lead over the Indians in game 2 of their division series. Mike Cameron and Edgar Martinez wasted no time getting to Chuck Finley and managing a split before the series shifts to Cleveland. Follow the tourney the entire postseason exclusively on the Fox networks. Joe?
All right, Jeannie. So while those 2 teams make their way back to Cleveland, these 2 teams will head out to Oakland at the end of tonight's game. Unsung heroes, Bartolo Colon in game 1, 8 innings, no runs, 10 strikeouts, and then the Mariners went to their 20-game winner, Jamie Moyer, 6 innings, a run, 4 strikeouts, and the series is tied. 0-2 the count on Soriano.
Joe, you and I got a taste of how popular Mike Cameron is in the Seattle area. He was the last player named to the All-Star game by Joe Torre this year. Tremendous day here at Yankee Stadium earlier this year when he had 8 RBIs in 1 game.
Talking about stepping in for a hero, filling in center field for Ken Griffey Jr. He had a huge year offensively, drove in over 100 runs. Fly ball to right. Soriano is taken care of. 2 up, 2 down in the 3rd. Back to the top of the order, Chuck Knobloch. Tomorrow, our exclusive postseason coverage continues as both series in the National League move on to game 3 first. At 4 p.m. Eastern on Fox, the Astros travel to Atlanta. The Braves try and complete the sweep. Then at 8 Eastern on Fox Family, Tim and I will be in St. Louis. Game 3, series tied 1-1. Diamondbacks and Cardinals, another full day of playoff baseball across the Fox networks. Your exclusive home for the 2001 postseason and World Series. That's a ball to Knobloch, who is 0 for 1. That's ball 2.
Even with the success of the Yankees over the past 6 years, they've had a tough time filling that left field position since Ricky Henderson left in 1988. Chuck Knobloch is the first left fielder to start 100 games for the Yankees since 1988.
Funny how just about every organization has one position that they have a tough time filling.
That's true.
If it's the Cubs, it's third base. I guess the Yankees, it's left field. The A's, they're good, they're young, they're good all around. No score after 3.
Budweiser, with the crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. This Bud's for you.
Band on the run. And there's a reason why they played that here at Yankee Stadium. We go to the 4th inning. There is no score. Ron Gant first up. Terrence Long will follow. Gant hits it foul outside third. Why were they playing Band on the Run? Well, February, 38 years ago, this man showed up with some of his friends here in New York, went on the Ed Sullivan Show and changed a few things.
Ooh, man.
Just right before we came back. A very American moment for Sir Paul McCartney as Ron Gant goes deep into left field. That will carry out of here, and the A's are on top as Gant is 2 for 2. He takes the trip around the bases, and Oakland is out in front here in the 4th inning. A moonshot off the bat of the extremely strong Ron Gant.
Ron Gant looking for that cutter inside, and he got it and kept it fair. The first one on which he swung, he fouled off. He didn't foul this one off. As high as it was far.
Only question, would it carry enough? And when you look at the biceps of Ron Gant, we should have known the answer. 8th career postseason home run for a guy that was picked up mid-season by the A's and hit only 2 home runs. That's right in the edge of the glove, and Andy Pettitte takes care of Terrence Long, 1 out.
Pettitte trying to get the cutter inside. Well, that is a great, powerful swing. Arms extended. The bat really becoming an extension of the arms as the A's take the lead.
4th home run of the series for the A's, and after a nice moment, Paul McCartney, who is here rooting for the Yankees, it would seem. Watch that ball sail out of the park. All 4 home runs have come leading off innings for the A's. So with Paul McCartney peering over the left shoulder of Ramon Hernandez, he takes a pitch out of the strike zone for ball 1.
Joe Torre, a very proud man of the run, the 4 out of 5 world championships, 3 in a row. He received a letter from Paul McCartney last year during the World Series. It was the last game, Game 5 at Shea Stadium. Actually, it was a mailgram. Paul telling Joe how much he was rooting for him across the Atlantic Ocean, of course, but a big Yankee fan.
One part of this job that Joe Torre loves.
He loves it. And you can't blame him.
Whether it's getting a call from Nathan Lane or Matthew Broderick after they come off the stage to congratulate the Yankees. Whatever it may be, as Hernandez Chops one over to third. Roches, 2 out. Frank Menechino, who grew up in New York, Staten Island, talks about his early days here in the city.
I was a Mets fan growing up, but I was basically a player guy. I didn't like teams too much. I liked, you know, individual players. So, you know, there's guys in the Yankees that I grew up watching, and, you know, Chuck Knobloch was one of them. You know, he was a, you know, favorite of mine, watching him play. And I played against Jeter in the minor leagues, and, you know, you just watch them guys come up through the league, and, you know, look at what Jeter's accomplished. He's won all them World Series and stuff. So you just want to be in their shoes someday, and, you know, now's our chance to do that.
Here's a guy who spent 6 full years in the minor leagues before getting a crack at it with the A's a couple of years ago. Now he's their everyday second baseman. We talked about positions the teams have a tough time filling. Second base was supposed to be Jose Ortiz, young, really gifted player. As Menechino hits it down the left field line, and the guy you just talked about, Knobloch, cuts it off and holds Menechino to a single. So Menechino ends up the everyday second baseman, while Jose Ortiz, really a good player, ends up as part of the trade package to get Jermaine Dye into an Oakland Athletics uniform. Here's Johnny Damon, who has filled a role in the outfield. They moved him to center field. We talked about this Oakland lineup. Joe Torre last night telling us that they could not match these A's swing for swing. They had to go pitch for pitch and try to keep him in the ballpark. Play that Yankee-style baseball, which we've all been accustomed to in the postseason since 1996. This A's team is, well, they've got it all. And then they get the inning last night from Isringhausen, who's supposed to be the weaker link as far as closers go, comparing these two teams. Throwing 97 miles per hour and had a quick and easy 9th inning in a 2-run game.
Just blew the Yankees away. But talking about Menechino and things opening up on the major league level, for young players, things open up nowadays much more than they did when Brooks Robinson was playing 23 years for the Baltimore Orioles, or Mark Belanger, or Bobby Bridge, guys who were solidified before free agency. Now things are so mobile that if you're good enough and you can play in the big leagues, don't worry, somebody will find a place for you.
Menechino at first. The A's have only gone down in order once, and that was in last night's 9th inning. Now it's 2-2 on Damon, who has had 2 good at-bats against Pettitte his first 2 trips up there, but he's 0 for 2.
His third at-bat, and Damon has already seen 17 pitches.
The 2-2. And again, for the 3rd time, Damon grounds out to Tino Martinez. Unassisted, he goes to the bag. Unassisted, Ron Gant gives the A's the lead. Up, out. Ooh. 1-0 Oakland, bottom of the 4th. Coming up in the 4th inning, down by a run now after the Ron Gant home run. Jeter so far is 4 for 5 in this series. Singled his first time up tonight. Facing Hudson. That's strike 1. The Yankees have only that 1 hit. Hudson has struck out 2. No walks. Art Howe went to Jason Giambi last year and said, this team is built around you. You have to be our leader. A lot of these players will look to you. You have to rally this team. He did last year. They won the AL West. He helped guide them to a 102-win season this year. And as Tim Hudson takes care of Derek Jeter, he weighs in with his thoughts on the young right-hander Tim Hudson, tonight's starter.
Hudson, who, like I said, I can't call him any Pedro anymore. He's Tim Hudson. He's a bulldog out there, 150 pounds soaking wet and tear your head off, when he's out on the mound. But he's a great teammate. That's what he is. I mean, even when he's not pitching, he's in the dugout, high-fiving guys down there. So we've got a unique situation where the team chemistry is unbelievable.
And Giambi's a big reason for that. With one out, nobody on, Paul O'Neill.
There was an article written in USA Today Weekly by Steve DeMeglio saying that Tim Hudson reminded him off the field of a Walmart greeter or a museum tour guide, a guy who helps ladies across the street.
There's Giambi.
But not when he has a uniform on.
No.
Raw meat right there.
So with 2 out, nobody on, the batter will be Bernie Williams. Raw meat in the best sense.
Oh, absolutely. Raw meat's an old baseball term about players who are gamers, who are guys that,
you want to play behind.
You want to play behind. You want on your team that are leaders. Very few pitchers are leaders, but you get the idea that Hudson might be one.
A fastball to Williams. He grounds to second. Menachino takes care of Bernie Williams, and Hudson rolls through 4. 5th inning now, 1-0 A's. Back after this from your local Fox station. 1 behind Roger Clemens in the division series last year out in Oakland. Joe Torre called on Andy Pettitte to go out and win game 2. He pitched a terrific game, and the series was 1-1 coming back here to New York. The series eventually got back out to Oakland. Andy Pettitte made that start, was ineffective, but after a long night by the Yankee bullpen, it was good enough to hang on for a 7-5 win and a trip to the ALCS. 1 ball, 1 strike on Tejada. So it's Tejada, Giambi, and Dye coming up. One and 2. The numbers for Pettitte from that game 2 a year ago: 7 2/3, no runs, 5 hits. Game 3 starter Mike Messina. To the left side, tough play for Brocious, charging, throwing on the run, 1 out. In Oakland Athletics history, the players who have gone 40 or better over the boards: Reggie Jackson, Bart McGuire, who hit 49 as a rookie, Jose Canseco, and last year 43 home runs from Jason Giambi, and an American League Western Division title. One out. Strike 1.
You can see where Posada was setting up on Jason. And Andy Pettitte hit the front corner with nobody out. Giambi will be trying to jerk one. That ball right there, that first fastball.
1 ball, 1 strike. Jason Giambi is a closer. He closed last season by just lighting it up, as he did this year. Final 43 games, hit .387. And this team, even after they wrapped up the wild card, Tim, did not let up.
No, they didn't.
They won 17 straight in their home ballpark. Played great down the stretch. And Giambi right in the middle of it. Slugged .745 over the final month and a half. Still 1 and 2.
Giambi's so strong, can hit the ball out to right, center, left field.
came down to get it. Still 1-2.
Trying to come inside. And the ball sailing out over the plate.
We have seen that glare, that stare from Andy Pettitte right under the bill of his Yankee cap. Since 1996. A 1-2. Jammed the heck out of him, but it's foul. Why not? Posada willing to let it roll, and it came back toward the line.
Jason Giambi taking a note from Bernie Williams earlier, who did not run on a ball that came back fair, got by Giambi, fielded by Frank Menachino, the second baseman. Watch Giambi. He sees the ball foul, but saying, uh-oh, Bernie didn't run. Now I better at least give it an effort. Now it's coming back a little faster, taking his business partner with it.
Where will Giambi and that business partner end up next season? And what will it cost that team? Will it be back in Oakland? Will it be here in New York? A 1-2. Tino Martinez with the backhand. 2 out.
I think the dollars are right as far as Oakland's concerned with Giambi. It's a no-trade clause that the Oakland Athletics, at which they are balking.
Sometimes those no-trade clauses sound a little better than they actually are. And I know that ball clubs go into contract negotiations with players and they say, look, we're paying you $15, $18 million a year. If you're playing like you're playing now to warrant that contract, we're going to want to keep you. If you're not playing to warrant that contract, nobody's going to want you. So while you put up a stink about a no-trade clause, because of the size of the contract and the dollars involved, it's almost a built-in no-trade clause.
Interesting take on no-trade clauses. If you're going to give anybody a no-trade clause, Andy Pettitte now 95 pitches. Joe Torre said around 100.
Hard hit. Stopped by Brocious. Bounce to first and the inning is over. The Yankees looking for some spark to get this thing going. Brocious may provide that spark with the leather. Halfway through game number 2. Good one. 1-0 Oakland.
Lee Mazzilli talking to Scott Brocious after that brilliant play at third.
Playing one like except John, throw it in his leg.
It's got mud and everything right.
What a play.
So the right hand picked up a lot of mud. On his way back to his feet, and a bounce over to first for the out. And now Tino Martinez. See if that play by Brocious gets this Yankee team going. That's all well and good, except for the guy on the mound. He's been doing this all night. Menachino. 1 out. And Martinez is 0 for 2. Here is our MasterCard fan cam in the 5th inning at Yankee Stadium. Those who protect us and those who have served us all so well. New York's finest, as with 1 out, Jorge Posada down the right field line. Into the corner. A leap, and it's a foul ball. Dye gave it a look, and it was 1 row into the seats, just short of the foul pole.
But again, Jorge Posada becoming a spectator and watching the ball. Had this ball plopped down fair, Posada probably wouldn't have gotten to second base. Look at the effort by Jermaine Dye going, oh, what a jump. Basketball player in high school, but Posada became a spectator.
There's a strike to Posada. It's 0-2.
How's that for strategy? Posada hits an inside slider, almost hit it out of the ballpark, and Hudson comes right back with the same pitch.
1-2.
How about that leap by Jermaine Dye?
That was something.
Oh, man.
With reason.
Very good throwing arm.
12 assists this year.
Here's a 1-2 to Posada. 2-2.
Whoa.
One out, nobody on. 2 balls, 2 strikes with Justice on deck. Posada, who hit 22 home runs during the regular season. That makes it full. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Twelve in a row retired by this 26-year-old right-hander.
The Yankees have hit 2 balls out of the infield. 2. A base hit by Jeter and a fly ball by Soriano.
A 1-out walk. To put the playoff postseason experience on a pie chart, these numbers including today's starts by these players in the lineups. Postseason games played among the teams in the American League playoff. The Yankees with 781 games compared to 156 for the A's. The A's winning last night 5-3 from a 24-year-old Mark Mulder to a 26-year-old Tim Hudson. Justice. That's a line drive and a double play. We talked about his athletic ability playing back in college at Auburn. What a play.
Fielding that ball like a center fielder.
He charged it. We go to the 6th, 1-0 Oakland.
Oh, I like that, but then
Andy Pettitte has thrown 96 pitches through 5 innings. Tim Hudson has thrown 56. There's Ramiro Mendoza.
I would imagine, Joe, that if Andy Pettitte, Chavez gets on leading off, or perhaps Ron Gant gets on, Mendoza might get up.
Mendoza will have to unbundle out in the bullpen.
Only 2 strikeouts tonight for Andy Pettitte. Eric Chavez on similar pitches. Cutters low and away, out of the strike zone.
Identical situations as Chavez goes the opposite way. The ball really carrying. Knobloch staggering around makes the catch. And Chavez, who left a total of 4 runners on in his first 2 at-bats with strikeouts, flies to left.
Ball carrying, middle of the warning track.
Knobloch, who committed an error in last night's game. Making that play as Ron Gant takes a ball low and away. A lot of times when you see former infielders go to play the outfield, the guy I'm thinking about right now is Sean Dunston. They learn to play the outfield later in their careers. They take their infielder gloves with them. That glove looks like it's half the size of Knobloch out in left field.
Half as tall as Chuck. The guy with the bat in his hand right now. A guy who was the second baseman when he came up with Atlanta and then moved to left field with the Braves.
Which is really hard to remember and believe at this point with the size of this guy. But Ron Gant is the difference in this game. He and Tim Hudson. Gant has singled and homered, and Tim Hudson has shut out the Yankees through 5 innings. It'll be the 8, 9, and 1 hitters for New York in the bottom of this 6th. 1 out, nobody on, 2 balls and a strike on Gant. Now it's 2-2.
This may sound simplistic, but the reason outfielders' gloves are bigger than infielders' gloves is that outfielders have bigger gloves for reach. Infielders have smaller gloves so they can release the ball more quickly. So Derek Jeter's glove is much smaller than Chuck Knobloch's.
Breaking ball strikes out Gant, 2 out.
Good curveball. It served Andy Pettitte well tonight. That's why that pitch count, you have to be flexible with that. Joe Torre and Mel Stottlemyre are certainly that. Sometimes a pitcher can throw 90 pitches and it's too much, and 120 pitches sometimes, and you could pitch all night.
Here is Terrence Long, 0 for 2 tonight, off the end of the bat, strike 1. So just to repeat, Joe Torre telling us before the game that 100 pitches would be about it for Andy Pettitte, and he's up to 104 as he tries to get through the 6th inning. So keep that in mind. This could be the last inning for Randy Pettitte. See if the Yankees get busy in their bullpen during the bottom of this 6th inning. Although the Yankee half innings when they're at the plate have not lasted very long. As Long goes into deep left center field. Well hit off the base of the wall. Terrence Long, a homer twice last night, has a 2-out double here in the 6th inning of game 2. And time to get on the phone.
1 man on, 1 man up. Mendoza. This a hanging curveball, and Terrence Long with great extension. He extended for 2 solo homers in last night's game, and now to left center field with 2 outs.
So a ball off the base of the wall, and that starts action for the Yankees out in their bullpen, and it is no surprise that it's that guy, Ramiro Mendoza. So while we look at Mendoza, now look at the meeting on the mound between Stottlemyre, Tino Martinez, Andy Pettitte, and Posada. We remind you that tomorrow our exclusive postseason coverage continues as both series in the National League move on to Game 3. First at 4 Eastern on Fox. The Astros travel to Atlanta as the Braves try and complete the sweep. Then at 8 Eastern on Fox Family, Tim and I will be on hand in St. Louis. The Diamondbacks and Cardinals square off in Game 3 of their division series. Another full day of playoff baseball across the Fox networks, your exclusive home to the 2001 postseason and World Series. Here's Ramon Hernandez. There is a big run sitting out there for Oakland. Runner at second, 2 out. And a breaking ball in for a strike to Hernandez, who's 0 for 2.
Yankee infielders reminding one another that Hernandez is not a fast runner. With 2 out and a runner on at second base, if you can't make a play on a ball hit by Hernandez, play a step or 2 deeper so you can at least knock it down and keep Long at third.
Now a fastball on the outside corner makes it 0-2. Got him on the inside corner. Now it's the bottom of the 6th. Tim Hudson back to the hill. He's faced only 1 over the minimum. And the A's hanging on, leading by 1. He's 0 for 1 in this game, 0 for 5 in the series. 1-0 Oakland. Ball 1 from Tim Hudson, who issued the first walk given to the Yankees in this series last inning. and then followed that up with a line drive caught at the start of a double play, 1-3 off the bat of Justice. Yankees came in talking about getting the pitch count of these young Oakland starters up, trying to get into their bullpen early, and they have been issued one walk.
Tim Hudson has had only one 3-ball count on any Yankee hitter tonight, and that was the walk issued to Posada.
His 59th pitch of the night. 1-2. Retired 13 of the last 14, and the last guy he retired was a loud double play. See the ground outs. It's been one after the other so far. Time called as a beach ball got on the playing field. Now that's taken care of. Brocious leading off, 1-2. And he's granted time by the home plate umpire, Jeff Nelson.
The pitches left for the Yankees to select tonight have all been around the knees.
As that one was, but too far outside, 2-2. Sixth inning, 1-0, and Art Howe, I'm sure, is sitting there in awe of his young starters and the job they've done so far. Mulder last night, Hudson tonight. I'll tell you, they've got as much ability as any trio of young pitchers across baseball, but their approach, their stability, what they bring to the mound is unique.
Fearless.
Two balls, two strikes. 3-2. Soriano waits on deck.
Outfielder Johnny Damon, the center fielder, playing shallow. Talked about it last night. He and Bernie Williams both a shallow center field.
That's hooked foul.
That was a mistake by Hudson. That pitch was hittable. Brocious out in front. He has not thrown many of these lollipops tonight. Strike candy, as hitters refer to it.
3-2 again, and another foul ball. Brocious, who was the '98 World Series MVP. It could conceivably be his final game as a Yankee. It could be the final game for Tino Martinez. It could be the final game for Paul O'Neill here at Yankee Stadium as Yankees. It could be the final game for Joe Torre. In that dugout, 3-2 pitch, got him on the outside corner. And Scott Brocious puts up an argument on his way back to the dugout. Frustration on the part of the three-time defending world champions. And that was called strike 3.
Could have been outside, but that tailing fastball. And to the credit of Jeff Nelson, the home plate umpire, he waited for that pitch to develop. Could have been outside, but too close to take.
Now it's Soriano. The 23-year-old 0 for 1 tonight, 2 out of 5 in the set. Early in the season, you couldn't walk Soriano if you tried.
No.
He got better as the season wore on. And he waits for a 2-0 pitch. And he swings and lines it to Menachino. 2 out. A scouting report on this 26-year-old right-hander from Tim Hudson.
Most of my pitches have a lot of the same movement. The thing is that I have differences in speeds. My split finger looks a lot like my changeup, but the speeds are about 7-8 miles an hour different. My sinker has the same movement, maybe not as much downward movement as my changeup and split, but the same line. And then my breaking ball is the one pitch that I have that goes away from right-handers and into lefties.
93-mile-an-hour fastball from Hudson for strike one to Knobloch, who's 0 for 2. The only hit tonight for the Yankees belongs to Jeter back in the first. Hudson has faced one over the minimum. He's 1 strike away from rolling through 6 innings. Yankees lost game 1 to Oakland last year in the division series, but that was out in Oakland. Won game 2 and then came back here to New York. Oakland won last night. They lead tonight.
Tim Hudson started the first game here at Yankee Stadium last year. That was game 3 of the divisional playoffs. And he lost to the Yankees, giving up 4 runs, 3 of which were earned in 8 innings.
1-2. Orlando Hernandez 8-1 in the postseason since joining this Yankee team. Talking to Jorge Posada. Off the plate, tough play. Chavez. No chance. Second hit of the night for New York.
Hudson's enemy was his effectiveness here. He got the sinker down so far that Knobloch didn't hit it hard enough for Chavez to make a play. And you can bet Knobloch will be running. Remember that number, 24 of 31 stolen bases. So if you're Derek Jeter, we'll see if Jeter gives Knobloch a chance to steal second base.
Winded a bit after going down the line there, and now Rick Peterson, the pitching coach for Oakland, is going to come out and talk to Hudson, and the running game may be a part of their discussion. A 1-0 Oakland lead, and the tying run is on for the Yankees with 2 out in the home half of the 6th inning.
Interestingly, the middle infielders are part of the discussion. And I think you're right, Joe. I think the discussion out there is they're talking about the running game. You're not talking about Tim Hudson. His effectiveness is still quality, still throwing quality pitches. Who's going to cover? Do you pitch out? Things of that nature. In the process, they gave Knobloch a chance to catch his breath.
Typically, Jeter likes to go to right. And you look at the middle infielders, Tejada, the shortstop, Menachino, the second baseman, who will cover if and when Knobloch takes off. He goes to right. A base hit. Knobloch will turn and hold, and it's 2 on with 2 out. So Jeter does go to right, but he did not give Knobloch a chance to run.
Knobloch thinking about going to third base. Jeter, first ball swinging, slaps one to right field. His second hit and the third hit for the Yankees. Knobloch realizing how many outs there were. He had an idea about third, but no. Jermaine Dye in right field. I better hold up.
So Paul O'Neill, who has given this Yankee team and these Yankee fans so much during this stretch, starting in 1996, will tap his way into the batter's box in what could be his final game, wearing the Yankee pinstripes here at Yankee Stadium. 2-1.
How can Paul take that pitch? I do not understand this. Right down the pipe.
Two and two. O'Neill has yet to take the bat off his shoulder.
That's the problem with taking that 2-0 pitch. The deeper in the count it goes, the tougher Hudson becomes.
Hudson having a tough time getting together with Hernandez as catcher on what to throw. And now they have to talk about it.
You have to make sure it's probably about location. If a pitcher wants to throw it outside and a catcher wants it inside, usually the pitch will be down the middle of the plate. So you have to make sure.
So the 25-year-old catcher talks to the 26-year-old pitcher as to how they're going to get the 38-year-old hitter. Two veterans on. Knobloch the tying run at second. Jeter the go-ahead run at first. Yankees trailing in the series and in this game.
O'Neill with 2 strikes is apt to go to left field. Cuts down his swing. We'll see.
Gave it a shot over there, and the count stays 2-2.
Pitch outside. O'Neill going the other way. No way to pull that pitch effectively.
Another 2-2 pitch. The runners will go. Into right center, that's easy. Damon, and the inning is over. And Tim Hudson threw another scoreless inning. The Yankees, their best chance of the night. O'Neill flies to center. 7th inning now. 1-0 Oakland. Back after this from your local Fox station. Ron Gant took Andy Pettitte out of the park leading off. Tim Hudson got out of his biggest jam of the night, and even though he's over 100 pitches on the night, Andy Pettitte goes back to the hill with help in the bullpen if he needs it. Menachino, the number 9 hitter, first up, and that's ball 1. Mendoza still getting loose. You've got Menachino, then Johnny Damon, the left-hander, then Tejada. That cleanup hitter in this inning, Jason Giambi, is looming large and might be one of the main reasons why Pettitte is staying out of the mound. Here's a 1-1. That's foul.
We have not seen from either pitcher a lot of pitches down the middle of the plate tonight. Both Pettitte and Hudson carving up the corners.
We keep talking about Hudson. Pettitte has had a terrific start.
Sure has.
1 run on 6 hits. But 111 pitches. Here's the 1-2. 2-2. Top of the order, represented by Damon, waits to hit next. Pettitte, who went only 5 innings in his final start after being hit back of his pitching elbow by a line drive on September 26th as Menachino pops it up. Playable. Posada, 1 out.
But one pitch down the middle comes to my mind, and it was the 2-0 pitch to Paul O'Neill. It wasn't that one. 2-0. This one right here, right down the pipe, and now he carves the corner. O'Neill forced into a defensive posture, and with the count 3-2, the slider on the hands gets him.
A's have stranded 7. The Yankees have left only 3 as Damon takes the ball. After a 4-hit game 1, Damon has grounded out to first 3 times tonight. That's pretty well hit to center. Bernie Williams back on the run, won't get there. One hop up against the wall. Damon is going to hold with thoughts of a triple. He'll keep it a double. And now with Tejada coming up, we'll see if Pettitte stays in the game. You could go to the right-hander to pitch to Tejada, pitch around Giambi, and throw Mendoza against Jermaine Dye, and it looks like that might be the approach taken by Joe Torre.
That is exactly the strategy that Torre will employ. Try to get Tejada out, walk Giambi, and go after Dye.
A 115-pitch night for Andy Pettitte. Very good tonight, and Joe Torre is appreciative. And so are these fans. But as Pettitte leaves, the Yankees trail by 1. Mendoza first out of the bullpen tonight. Last night it was Hitchcock relieving the injured Roger Clemens. The numbers for Mendoza, who had a rough outing his last time out, worked on the side the day before the start of this series, and pronounced himself fit and ready to go. A bender in for a strike to Tejada, who's 2 out of 3. Miguel a double back in the first, a double in the third. Mendoza Saturday against Tampa Bay went an inning and 2/3, allowed 5 runs on 6 hits. Dangerous foul ball into the seats, and that's strike 2. Andy Pettitte has been a big game pitcher for Joe Torre. Still responsible for the runner at second base, but a quality start, good effort here tonight. Not good enough at this point. A 1-0 Oakland lead. Damon at second with 1 out.
That's the one thing that Joe Torre and Mel Stottlemyre have been trying to do as you look at the Athletics. 0 for 16 with runners in scoring position.
They've left 7 tonight, left 10 on last night. Still 0-2.
To have Ramiro Mendoza step off more and vary his moves with the runner on at second base. When he gets a runner on at second, it's almost as though Mendoza doesn't think that the runner will try to steal third. His pattern's too predictable.
Off the end of the bat, foul.
That's another thing, Joe. Mendoza throws so many strikes that often 0-2, he gives the hitter too good a pitch to hit. He's thrown 4 straight strikes since coming in. The curveball that he got over on the first pitch, and then 3 straight fastballs. Again, the Yankees trying to get him to waste one, make it close, to have a hitter reach for a strike with the count 0-2.
A jam shot, pop-up, Soriano, 2 out. And now they can pitch around Giambi and work on Jermaine Dye.
I think this is just a walk. 4 fingers go up for Posada. That's my guess.
Yep. So it'll put 2 on with 2 out for Jermaine Dye. The key for the Yankees in Mendoza was getting Tejada, giving them the opportunity to do this with one of the most dangerous hitters in the game today, Jason Giambi. The Yankees walked Giambi 7 times in the division series last year. He's being walked for the 2nd time tonight and 3rd time in this series, even with Jermaine Dye hitting behind him. So now it's Jermaine Dye, who could add to an Athletics 1-0 7th inning lead.
Jermaine Dye.
Dye is walked, line to right, and was robbed of an extra base hit and a diving play by Brocious back in the 5th. Ball 1.
Just looking down at Willie Randolph in the dugout. Willie is positioning himself so it's easy for Alfonso Soriano to see him. Willie's saying, you can hold Damon close, but not that close. Don't give up the position. Good sinker right here to Dye.
One ball, 1 strike, 2 on, 2 out. To 3rd. Brocious. That ends the inning. And good work by Mendoza picking up Andy Pettitte. It's 7th inning stretch time, and tonight Kate Smith recording God Bless America.
Please rise for Kate Smith's rendition of God Bless America.
From the mountain to
on Fox is brought to you by KFC. There's fast food, then there's KFC. And by Energizer. You have the bunny inside?
We welcome you back to Yankee Stadium. Bernie Williams, a cleanup hitter for New York, first up in the 7th. Still 1-0 Oakland. Tim Hudson back to work. Ball 1.
The Athletics have stranded 9. The Yankees have had few runners to strand.
3 hits and a walk. A double play mixed in. The 1-0. Right side, Menachino to his left. Nice play, 1 out right now. Jeannie Zalasko with a game break.
Joe, 2 38-year-olds started on the mound in Seattle. 76 years of experience. The oldest postseason starters in baseball history. But Seattle's Jamie Moyer looked like a spring chicken. He took a shutout into the 7th and helped the Mariners even their series with the Indians at 1 game apiece. Travel day for the AL Friday, though the National League takes center stage. Follow the tourney the entire postseason exclusively on the Fox networks. Joe?
All right, Jeannie. We have seen some well-pitched games already in the division series rounds, both in the AL and in the National League. That's strike 1. See Cleveland and Seattle tied at a game apiece down in the bottom left-hand corner. Atlanta got a 1-0 win from Tom Glavine. Arizona got a 1-0 shutout from Curt Schilling. That series tied 1-1 after Woody Williams followed up that game by outpitching Randy Johnson. In this series, it's been Mulder and now Hudson outpitching to this point Clemens and Pettitte. And in the bottom of the 7th, with 1 out, nobody on, Tino Martinez faces Hudson with Jeff Tam and Mike Magnante getting loose for the A's. Right side, base hit. Tying run is on for New York.
If this were the 8th inning, or perhaps the 9th inning, Clay Bellinger would be the pinch runner for Martinez. But since it's only the 7th and there is a chance that Tino could come up in the 9th, Joe Torre will allow him to run for himself.
I'm sure Art Howe is at least considering bringing the left-hander into the game. With Posada the switch hitter and Justice to follow. Hudson has been so good tonight. Art Howe willing to stick with a 26-year-old Tim Hudson. Jorge Posada takes ball 1.
Strategy now here for Hudson. Show him the pitch inside off the plate, but don't throw him a strike on the inside part of the plate. Not with his power in this ballpark.
Off the hands, 1 ball, 1 strike.
That pitch surprised me right there. I think it surprised Posada also. Right in on the hands. So Hudson tonight, his pattern has been no pattern.
Tying run at first. 2 balls and a strike on Posada. Spencer getting ready. Right now it's Posada. The go-ahead run at the plate. 2-2.
He came back inside to Posada. 4 fastballs inside to Jorge Posada in a situation where the long ball can hurt you.
getting loose as the Yankees bat down by a run in the 7th inning with 1 on, 1 out. Full count.
Tino Martinez will be running right here.
Pitches for Hudson. This could be his last batter. Posada with Justice next. Tying run, Martinez at first. Posada pops it up. Jorge Posada screaming at himself as he headed down the first baseline. 2 out. Here's tonight's game summary brought to you by Nissan. The Yankees have not led in this series. They trail 1-0 now with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. Tim Hudson, 6 2/3 innings pitched. No runs on 4 hits. Andy Pettitte is out of this game. Gant with his 8th career postseason home run for the only run of the night. And the A's in this series 0 for 18 with runners in scoring position. The Yankees won 7. Hudson got Posada, so he stays in to face Justice, and that's a rocket foul off to the right.
3-2 slider.
These Yankee hitters frustrated all night by Hudson. Frustrated last night by Mulder. Justice in his 95th postseason game. He's in the hole 0-2.
Yeah, we talked about it last night. David Justice either way out in front or way behind. He is having a tough time putting a ball in play between the lines. Way out in front of this splitter by Hudson.
David Justice, no RBIs in his last 59 at-bats. Regular season and the start of this series included. One and 2 to a guy who has hit 13 career postseason home runs.
One of those won a world championship for the Atlanta Braves back in 1995.
Continues to pitch inside to these left-handed hitters.
Guts of a burglar right there. He has not been working left-handers inside all night. Everything's been away, away, away. Now when the long ball can beat him, he's been pitching both Posada and Justice inside.
Fought it off, fouled it off. The Yankees 4 singles and a walk tonight. That's it. And now the runner Martinez will go.
That's why that 2-2 pitch with 2 outs was such a key pitch. Now on a short double, Martinez could score.
And Giambi's coming in to tell Hudson that he's going to play behind the runner.
guard the line.
To Justice.
I think the reason you guard the line in this situation, Justice has already pulled 3 balls foul toward first base. And Jason Giambi being given orders by Art Howe. Not only play behind Martinez, but stay close to the line and prevent the double. Give up the single.
First and third, 2 out.
Pat Mullen, an old first base coach for a long, long time with the Detroit Tigers, used to have a line about a guy who was in a hitting slump. He'd get to first base and kiss first base. I'm sure David Justice feels like doing that right now. Justice mired in a late season funk. Singles off Hudson.
99 pitches on the night for Hudson. Meeting on the mound. And I would not be surprised to see Art Howe turn around and leave that mound and leave Hudson behind him.
I think you're right.
Tam is ready if they need him, but they're going to stick with Hudson. And it'll be Brocious, who is 0 for 6 in this series, batting with the tying run at third, the go-ahead run at first, 2 out in the bottom of the 7th. Ball, no strikes with the rookie Soriano on deck. Tying run. Go ahead run. 2 out. The middle. Menachino still 1-0. Hudson ran it in on the hands of Brocious, and a weak ground ball up the middle, strands 2. 5 on the night for the Yankees. Into the 8th. A's bat up by 1. Down and in for the first pitch of the 8th inning. Mendoza back to the hill. 1-0 Oakland. But he talked about these young starters for the A's, Mulder and Hudson. They have combined for 13 2/3 innings, allowing a total of 1 run. Meanwhile, the Yankees have scored only 3 runs in 16 innings played, while their 3 and 4th place hitters are 1 for 14. 1 and 2 on Chavez with Jeremy Giambi in the on-deck circle.
Chavez has to be relieved. As you look at Mark Mulder, last night's starter, Chavez relieved that Andy Pettitte's not out there. Pettitte made some pitches on Eric tonight, striking out twice, flying to left.
That's easy into center field for Bernie Williams. Chavez 0 for 4. And Jeremy Giambi will bat for the man who provided the only run of the night, Ron Gant. In the fourth inning, the fourth leadoff home run of this series for the A's. Up, and it just kept carrying back into the seats out beyond the left field wall. And Gant, with that swing, put the A's up 1-0. And Tim Hudson has been tremendous all night. The DH combination for Art Howe. This is Jeremy Giambi, who made the start in last night's game and was 1 out of 4. Rounds to second. 2 out.
That is exactly what Ramiro Mendoza wants a left-handed hitter to do, is to try to pull that sinker. As the ball goes away, the fat part of the bat goes away. You end up playing pepper with that second baseman all night long.
Mendoza, a good job in the 7th after a 1-out double by Damon. Came in, got Tejada on a pop-up. They walked Giambi. And Dye bounced into an inning-ending force-out. Ball 1 to Terrence Long, who has 2 home runs and a double in this series. Temperature has dropped a little bit since we started, but the weather has been absolutely perfect for the first 2 games of this divisional series. Two and one. The Yankees in the bottom of this 8th inning will have Soriano, Knobloch, and Jeter, the 9, 1, and 2 hitters. That'll get out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The A's have had Tam, Magnante, Messier up for a short while. You wonder if Hudson is going back out there.
I would think he would. 101 pitches on the night.
The 2-2. Long reaches out and pokes it into left for his 2nd hit of the night and his 4th of this series.
How about that pitch? That pitch was about 9 inches outside and about 6 inches off the plate or off the ground. Ooh, punch shot. Fine hitting by Terrence Long.
Terrence Long and Scott Brocious have one thing in common, and that is both were traded for Kenny Rogers. Trade back in '97 brought Brocious to the Yankees, the '98 season. And the trade in July of '99 between the Mets and A's sent Terrence Long out to Oakland for Kenny Rogers, who later that season gave up a bases-loaded walk in the NLCS to Andrew Jones to force home the series-clinching run. Braveland lost to the Yankees 4 out. 1 ball, 1 strike on Ramon Hernandez.
And Ron Washington, the third base coach, giving signs to Terrence Long. It's a good running situation. Long stealing 9 of 12 chances during the regular season.
The A's weren't shy about running last night with Damon on the bases.
Yeah, you have a 1-0 lead, 8th inning. Really not a lot of downside. Mendoza, to be effective, has to keep the ball down, which means it's tougher for Posada to throw.
That pop-up, Tino Martinez, good effort, but it's 2-2.
Tino sliding into that fence. I mean, if you go ahead long, you can imagine the damage done.
Do they run with long here? Starts and stops, and Hernandez foul tips it.
Just a piece of it. You know, we talked about this being a running situation, Joe, and with the count 2-2 and 2 outs, I don't think you run on 2-2 and 2 outs, because if the next pitch is a ball, then the runner is compelled to run. I think it changes a bit.
That's foul. Good play. Another 2-2 pitch. Inning over. First strikeout for Mendoza. Alfonso Soriano first up, the number 9 hitter, then back to the top of the Yankee lineup, 1-0 Oakland.
IBM, taking e-business and your business to the next level. By Campbell's Chunky Soup, it fills you right up. And by Smirnoff Ice, see where it takes you.
Jim Hudson will indeed go back to work. Bottom of the 8th, 1-0 A's. Soriano first up. First pitch swinging. 1 out.
Yet another ground ball out for Tim Hudson. The Yankees with 2 fly ball outs tonight win the 8th inning.
Knobloch has one of the 5 Yankee hits. It's an infield hit back in the 6th inning on a chopper to third. He tries to get on in front of Jeter. It's Hudson on the mound with Jim Messier ready in the bullpen. He's been warming up on and off. With 1 out, Knobloch takes ball 1. Isringhausen was terrific last night for Oakland in the 9th inning in a 5-3 victory. 1 ball, 1 strike on Knobloch.
The Yankees were 68-38 against right-handed pitchers this year.
The 1-1. 2-1. You would think that Mariano Rivera will work the top of the 9th no matter what the score.
I think that's right.
Even if the Yankees are trailing 1-0. He didn't work last night.
Right.
Travel day tomorrow. Might as well put him out there. Here's a 2-1. Up the middle. Tying run is on.
Knobloch with his 2nd straight hit. Hit number 6 for the Yankees. I think one of the big reasons, Joe, that Art Howe is still leaving Hudson in the game is Hudson's ability to throw the ground ball. With that in mind, does Joe Torre open up the hit and run? Jeter with a couple of hits, 5 in the series. A lot of things Torre could do with Jeter right here.
Parents watching from the seats here at Yankee Stadium. Their October home since 1996. Tying run at first, 1 out, 8th inning. Jeter tied up.
Nasty, heavy sinker in on the hands.
Jeter going after the first pitch, as he did his last time up when he singled through the right side after a non-block base hit. The inning ended when O'Neill flied to right center. Back in there, and it's 0-2.
Jeter with the shin guard on the left ankle, and that ball looked like it was the right upper thigh. Very face. Kind of a grin on his face. Laugh to keep from crying.
So 1 on 1 out as Schenk the head by Jeter as he's set up at 0-2. Again, in on the hands of Jeter, and he is hanging after that last swing. 3 identical pitches, and that might have caught a piece of him as well.
It did. Oh, one on the right thigh, this one on the left leg. Looked like the left knee.
Head hanging, shoulders slumping.
Somebody is barking at him from the Yankees dugout, trying to loosen things up. They need it right now.
Knobloch at first with 1 out. Knobloch has shown no signs of running. Jeter has to protect the plate with an 0-2 count. Back inside. Jeter still trying not to smile. You can tell he's impressed by the work of Tim Hudson tonight.
Yeah.
And this at bat has been one of the more impressive efforts by Hudson all night. Glove of Hudson. They get the out at second. 1 on, 2 out. And it looked like they went back inside on Jeter yet again.
Boy, you talk about pounding a hitter inside. Watch this sequence. Inside. 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 And that's the inside.
Now with O'Neill coming up, Rick Peterson will visit the mound.
Not only does Derek Jeter make an out, but he has 2 sore legs that prevent him from running.
O'Neill had a chance back in the 6th inning with 2 on and 2 out. Took a 2-0 pitch for a strike, eventually popped up on a 3-2 delivery. And now with a tying run at first, 2 out, O'Neill, who hit 21 home runs during the regular season, will bat for the 4th time tonight against Hudson. He is 0 for 7, O'Neill is, in this series. The 3-4 hitters, 1 for 14. In the first 2 games of this division series. The one was the Tino Martinez home run in last night's 8th inning. Jeter, 27 steals during the regular season, caught 3 times. .93 from Tim Hudson Over 110 pitches on the night.
Just blows this ball right by Paul O'Neill. Up and away.
Left side. Tejada, Chavez, it's Chavez. And Tim Hudson battles his way through 8 strong innings here in game 2. 9th inning. 1-0 Oakland. Nothing Oakland lead as this game gets to the 9th inning. A look at Tim Hudson. And now a look at Tim McCarver. You know, with all due respect to Curt Schilling, Tom Glavine, in my opinion, this is the most impressive outing by a starter in this divisional round, doing what Tim Hudson has done on the road, trying to make it 2-0 here in Yankee Stadium with all the emotion here. Has been just amazing.
When you think of this young pitching staff, you have to think back to the Oakland Athletics of the early 70s. They had 3 20-game winners in 1973. Catfish Hunter among them, and these 3 guys can match up with anybody. Mulder's great performance last night, Hudson tonight, and it looks like that's it for Hudson, as it was for Mendoza.
Menachino leads it off and fouls the first pitch away from Rivera. The A's are now facing one of the best relief pitchers in postseason baseball history. 4-0 with 19 saves, 15 of which have been more than 1 inning. An ERA of 0.71. Used to set up Wetland. Now he is the closer for these Yankees. As the closer for the A's, Jason Isringhausen gets loose. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It'll be Bernie Williams, Tino Martinez, and Jorge Posada for the Yankees in the bottom of this 9th inning.
Rarely has Mariano Rivera been called upon to hold a game.
Still 1-2. Damon and then Tejada will follow. Joe Torre talked to us and others, telling us that Rivera in the right situation would go 2 full innings here tonight. This isn't the right situation, so he pitches in the 9th inning and he starts it with a strikeout. 1-0 Oakland. And Rivera is trying to keep it that way.
Rivera, truly one of the remarkable pitchers of our time, in that, for the most part, he throws 1 pitch. The same speed.
With great action.
Unbelievable.
Johnny Damon fouls it away. Buster Olney, the writer for the New York Times, who covers this Yankee team on a daily basis and does a terrific job. Kept a chart all year of the broken bats that Mariano Rivera piled up. He breaks more than any other short reliever in the game. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Breaks more wood than Paul Bunyan, one writer wrote earlier this year. That cutter inside just saws off left-handers in particular.
There's a broken bat, and there's a base hit into right. Damon will cruise into second base. Now he'll turn it on and go to third as Justice has trouble with it in right. We'll see how they score it. It is a triple, and it's a runner at third, 1 out.
You're right, Joe. Was a broken bat in on the trademark The 6th hit of the 2 games for Damon. And once Justice has a little trouble picking it up, Johnny heads to third. That's a big base right there, second to third with 1 out, because that's got to bring the infield in.
The infield is in for Tejada. Miguel 2 hits tonight, out of the way of ball 1. You've got Tejada up, who drove in 113 runs during the regular season with Jason Giambi on deck, and then Jermaine Dye. Two balls, no strikes. Hard hit through the legs of Brocious. It's 2-0. Miguel Tejada hit it sharply. Brocious pulled up, and in to score is Damon to double the lead.
The interesting thing there, Johnny Damon was going on contact, even with the infield in. Perhaps, as an error is scored, no RBI for Tejada, but perhaps this fooled Brocious with Damon running on contact with Giambi on deck. I guess Art House thinking, well, Joe Torre walked Giambi anyway, why not take a chance? Brocious comes up, and the ball gets through, and the Athletics extend their lead.
Now they have to pitch to Giambi, and that's strike 1. So Tejada, and maybe an error on Brocious. That ball was hit hard. It stayed down, and now Giambi is jammed, and the count 0-2.
Sometimes if you're an infielder and you're playing in, you're not used to seeing the runner at third break for home. You can see how Brocious is looking.
And that's a foul tip. The A's are still hitless with runners in scoring position because that was an error, but they couldn't care less. It's 2-0. And they have Giambi at the plate, trying to break it wide open. Tino Martinez, Jeter. Tino Martinez, 3-6-3, and the inning is over. But a big run scored by Oakland. Triple by Damon, scores on the error, 2-0 A's. And Isringhausen will try to close it for the A's. Last night in a 5-3 game, struck out Justice. Got a pop-up from Brocious. Struck out Soriano, throwing 97. The former New York Met, part of Generation Next, coming up with Pulsifer and Wilson. It's Isringhausen for the A's. It's Bernie Williams for the Yankees. Ball 1. Williams, Martinez, and Posada. One ball, one strike.
Bernie Williams should have been taking that pitch. It's inside. The Yankees trail by 2. A walk, indeed, is as good as a hit. If he's taking, it's 2-0.
In on the hands, 1-2. The Yankees, should they lose tonight, will head out to Oakland down 2-0. 5 teams have come back to win 5-game series after trailing 2-0, but no team has come back in a 5-game series down 2-0 with the first 2 losses at home. So they're looking at history as well as a much improved Oakland team, trying to overcome both if they lose here tonight. Down 2-0 in the ninth. The 1-2 to Williams. Opposite way. Base hit. And Williams will try for 2 and make it barely.
And there is no way you can take that chance. You're trailing by 2 runs. If it's that close at second, it's a bad base running play. The Yankees should know this ballpark better than anybody. And balls that trickle away will be stopped by the wall. Bernie Williams running hard, now turns it on for second. But first base is as good as second base. So even though he's safe, it's still a bad base running play.
Now Gino Martinez. Isringhausen blew 9 save chances during the regular season. Tying run at the plate for the Yankees. Ball 1.
One of the more excruciating losses for Isringhausen and the A's last year, August 8th, when the A's led by 1 coming into the 9th inning. A home run by Bernie Williams tied it, and David Justice won it with a homer.
Postseason history for the Yankees, 278 total games. They've been shut out only 15 times.
Boy, does that run that the Athletics scored in the top of the 9th inning loom large right now.
A triple and an error. And again, it's Johnny Damon, who was on base 5 times last night, with his second extra base hit tonight, that scored that insurance run. Just tie for ball 3. The tying runs are on.
Joe, you may see a pinch runner for Tino Martinez. It could be Clay Bellinger. Yep, that's who it's going to be. Because the trail runner in this instance represents the tying run.
So now the question is, what do you do with Posada? You're the New York Yankees. Do you have him bunt, try to move the runners up? He could end it and win it with one swing. Art Howe's going to come out and talk with Isringhausen, who is in a ton of 9th inning trouble.
Well, the problem is Jorge Posada can't bunt. His last bunt sacrifice was September 11th, 1997.
After our game, the late local news.
So over 4 years before Posada, or the last time that Posada has sacrificed. So he will be happy.
The A's men on the mound, just in case. They have to at least be ready for the bunt.
Yeah.
And they are shortened up on the infield.
I'd play back on the right side. I would not give Posada a chance to lace one through the right side. The A's have to know what we know, that his last sacrifice was over 4 years ago. Trying to make Posada give away something at the plate.
Isringhausen at times this season, a white knuckle closer for the A's. 2 on, nobody out. Posada, that's foul.
High fastball inside. Fouled off.
Strike 2. Geared up for the fastball, and Posada did not get it.
Boy, this is a wicked knuckle curveball. From the letters to the knees.
.341 during the regular season in a spot like this. Hernandez out to talk to Isringhausen.
Nobody warming in the Athletic bullpen. This game is Isringhausen's to save or lose or tie.
Winning run at the plate. Ball 1. The A's trying to go up 2 games to none. Tim Hudson may be sweating more now on the bench than at any point during his 8 innings on the mound. Two and 2.
You got to think that that knuckle curve is coming on one of the next 2 pitches.
Got him looking one away.
Isringhausen reached back and zeroed in on the outside part of the plate. 97-mile-an-hour fastball gets Posada.
And now Jason Giambi comes in to lighten the mood for a moment.
How can you find levity in that situation?
Whatever he said made Isringhausen laugh. As David Justice at bottom line, 4 out of 14 with 1 home run in his career against Isringhausen. 13 career postseason home runs for Justice, who's 1 out of 3 tonight.
As we said earlier in the inning, it was Justice who beat Isringhausen with the 9th inning home run. August 8th, 2000, here at Yankee Stadium.
Breaking ball inside for ball 1. side of the infield. Infield fly rule called. Catch is made by Chavez, and the Yankees are down to their final out. Chased one up and out of the strike zone for the second out. Before time gets away on us, the producer of tonight's game, the coordinating producer of Major League Baseball on Fox, Michael Weissman, the director of tonight's game, Bill Webb, associate director Aaron Stoikov, the broadcast associate Eric Billigmeyer. Dave Hill, our technical producer. A memorable game 2. 2 on, 2 out. They were on with nobody out. 2-0. Oakland, and it may end that way. On the right side of the infield, and the A's are going home up 2-0. The Oakland Athletics have come in here to Yankee Stadium after losing in the division series to them last year, taking the first 2 games. And like the Yankees were down back in 1996, 2-0 in the World Series going to the away ballpark. They will head in what is a 5-game series, needing to win 3 in a row to get back to the American League Championship Series.
Facing a very tough left-hander in Barry Zito in 2 days.
For more information on tonight's game and for the latest information on Major League Baseball, go to foxsports.com. For Tim McCarver, I'm Joe Buck. So long from New York. The good young pitching has dominated this series. The A's up 2-0 as the series goes to the Bay Area. Jeannie Zelasco and Kevin Kennedy will be along in the Fox Television Center with some final thoughts after these words. Good night from New York.
Hi, everyone. Welcome inside the Fox Network Center. I'm Jeannie Zelasco along with Kevin Kennedy. Your late local news is coming up next, but the real question now is, what is next for the world champion New York Yankees? Trailing the AL Divisional Series 0-2, history is not on their side. Since the wild card came into play, no team has ever gone on to win the series, taking an 0-2 deficit on the road.
Well, if any team can come back and do it, it's the world champion New York Yankees. But what I see, Jeannie, in this series, especially tonight, 14 ground ball outs for Tim Hudson. I did not see a lot of good Yankee at-bats. They have to technically do something different. I'm talking about using your legs. So hit a low pitch, you got to go down before you transfer your weight forward. The Yankees are hitting on top of the ball, worm killers into the ground. They're playing right into the hand of the Oakland A's right now, and they really have to make some technical adjustments, and they're not doing that so far in this series.
Art Howe looks like a prophet. Let's talk about Joe Torre and maybe some of the changes he may have to make going to Oakland.
Well, Joe Torre is such a loyal guy. He may stay with O'Neill in that lineup against Barry Zito on Saturday. He may stay in there with David Justice. I think Shane Spencer has to get in that lineup. A lot of power. This guy can get some lift in the ball. I think they got to play a little bit of their big ball as opposed to their small ball because they're not getting on base. They're not running. They're not doing a whole lot right now. They need another offensive threat, and I think Shane Spencer could be that threat.
And the Yankees aren't the only team on the brink of elimination. Could be the same path for the Houston Astros once again. Friday, Game 3 at Atlanta. Shane Reynolds, the 14-game winner, versus John Burkett, making his first postseason start since '96. Tomorrow, it's another full day of baseball, starting on Fox with Game 3 of the NLDS as the Astros try to avoid that sweep. Then on Fox Family, the D-backs take on the Cardinals. Game 3 of their series presented by Budweiser. Major League Baseball season has only one home. Of course, the Mariners will be a part of it for a little bit longer. We know that for sure, at least, because the M's tied up their series with the Indians 1 game apiece today in Seattle. The road to the World Series continues tomorrow across the Fox networks. For Kevin Kennedy, I'm Jeannie Velasco. Good night.